As the only French team to win the UEFA Champions League, Olympique de Marseille will forever have their place in history. While the past may hold significance, many are concerned about the current status of the club, with fan unrest and managerial changes becoming the new norm. In this FIFA 21 career mode, we'll be attempting to bring back some managerial stability, form player legends like many of the club icons that preceded them, and return Marseille as the top team in France and all of Europe. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here, and welcome to the start of a new series that we'll be taking on in France with Marseille. I was contemplating a few different teams as far as what the new career mode would be in Ligue 1, but ultimately the history that Marseille have, along with their current situation, made them for a really unique career mode. Another unique aspect about this club is how much the fans are involved. Public opinion goes a long way, and I think that's something cool that we can incorporate into this series. Maybe I can take on some of your transfer suggestions as well as press conference questions. Yes, they're back for another series. So if you would like to get involved, make sure to leave a press conference question in the comments section below. Also, leaving a like on the video would be massively appreciated. Help out with the algorithm. Subscribing is the best way to stay up to date when new episodes go live. Coming off a season that saw Marseille finish top 4 in Ligue 1 and qualify for Champions League, they've got an interesting mix of players, both experienced veterans in the squad as well as youngsters that'll play a crucial role in the club's future. And I always like to kick off the save by talking about some of the players in our starting 11, give you some further context and talk about my plan of action moving forward as far as transfers are concerned. Mandanda, 35 years old and also the highest rated player in this Marseille team. We'll have to see if he can progress in his rating or whether he's going to drop quickly like some of our older outfielders. I'll say goalkeepers are kind of an anomaly, so I've got my fingers crossed that we can see a longtime goalkeeper here in coming seasons. But talk about our defense, we've got some interesting options. Amavi, 26 years old and fairly balanced statistics. I don't see any reason to make an upgrade here. Quite like him in game. Alvaro, on the other hand, is 30 years old, so I think in the future we may look to sign some more center backs in this team. Koletzakar, a high potential player for the future, and Sakai, another older player in the team at 30 years old. The midfield is probably my favorite aspect about this team, mostly because we've got a graduate of the Marseille Youth Academy in Camara at CDM, 80 overall and just 20 years old. I can't even imagine how good he's going to be in future seasons, especially if dynamic potential can kick in. To go along with that, we've got some promising talents surrounding him. I think this Marseille midfield is destined to be one of the best in France and will be a big part of this save. But moving forward to our attack, we've got Talvin at the right wing position. This is actually his second spell at Marseille. He spent a few seasons in the Premier League at Newcastle, but now we're glad to have him back here. Speaking of the Premier League, we've got a former West Ham player in Dimitri Payet. Of course, I think he's better served at a center attacking mid position, but that doesn't exactly fit in our current tactics. Coupled with the fact he's 33 years old, I'm not sure whether he's going to play a big part in this career mode, but I'm glad to at least have him for one season. To round out our starting 11, we've got Milik. He's actually at the club on loan from Napoli, but at an 80 overall, he's going to be a welcome addition. At minimum, he's going to be here for 2 seasons, and considering the fact that we've got so many players whose contracts are expiring at the end of the year, I'm going to be looking to take your feedback on board as far as which players we should look to renegotiate contract and keep here at Marseille. Because I feel like we're entering a new stage at Marseille with so many older players at the club. We may look to bring in some other talents and let some of our younger players develop and reach their peak potential. Squad depth is going to be important for us because we've got a lot of different competitions to compete in. Domestically, we've of course got the league as well as the Trophée des Champions and the Coupe Nationale. We are again involved in Champions League as a result of last season's performance. Although Marseille finished last in their group in real life, we'll look to at least finish top 3. That way we can be involved in either Champions League knockouts or Europa League knockouts. But we'll look to kick off the signings by promoting our homegrown talent. This is a pre-order bonus that we get in every save, and this is one of the first wingers that I've had available. Antoine Hernandez, a right mid slash left winger, 17-year-old from France, of course, 81 to 94 potential. And if you look at the skill move work rate combo of 5-star, 5-star, he reminds me a lot of Franck Ribéry. Although he's at Fiorentina right now, he's probably most known for his time at Bayern, but before he went there, he actually spent a few seasons at Marseille. So I think it's only right that he receives the number 7, which was Ribéry's number for the club. Already has a valuation of 7.5 million, and I'm going to try to factor him as much as possible in this first half of the season. With a 5-star, 4-star scout already available, I'm just going to be setting up the one scouting network in France, looking for a goalkeeper for 6 months. But in the next episode, I think we can promote some more youth academy scouts, and I can take on your suggestions. So if you have any input as far as where we should be sending our scouts, make sure to leave a country as well as type of player that you think we should be looking for. Speaking of youth development, it is a low priority objective for us, but it should be pretty simple for us to sign at least 2 players younger than 20 years old with a potential greater than the average overall rating of players at that position. Brain exposure, we look to get 20 wins in the league as well as sign 1 young player. For finances, we need to increase the club's worth by 75% through player sales and competition prize money rewards within 3 seasons. And finally, getting into the domestic and continental success, we need to again finish in a Champions League place, as well as reach the semi-final of the Coupe Nationale. In Europe, the board is looking for us to advance past the group stage and reach the knockout stages. In order to help meet those objectives, we will be using our transfer budget, roughly 20 million or so available to us. And although there are a lot of different places that I think we could improve this team, I would like to sign an attacking-minded center midfielder. Rachedly Bazour has had an interesting career trajectory, still just 23 years old, but he has been a legend of career mode really since FIFA 15. His peak potential was 88 in FIFA 16 while he was still at Ajax. He then transferred to Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga, spent a few seasons there before returning to the Eredivisie, initially with Utrecht, but now he finds himself at Vitesse. And frankly, he's having one of his best seasons to date, predominantly as a defender for them, but you can see his primary position in FIFA 21 is still CDM, and I think he's going to have an even better overall rating as center mid. So because Marseille are actually linked with signing him IRL, I think it's time for him to make the return to the top 5 leagues and have a go at Liga. Completing the signing for 10 million. We'll be initially signing as a rotational player to a 5-year deal worth 23 grand a week. We did start to receive transfer offers for our players, Arsenal submitting a bid of 12.9 million, which is above Payet's market value, but I want to at least have 1 season with him here. I think he's one of the more recognizable Marseille players. We don't necessarily need those funds right now. I was also contemplating whether to loan out Antoine Hernandez or not. If you don't already know, loaning out young players is probably the easiest way to see them progress in their rating. On the other hand, if we do loan out Hernandez, we won't be able to feature him in this career mode. So I think a fair compromise is to give him half a season, see how some of his progress goes, and if he's not developing quick enough, we can loan him out for the remainder of the first season in the next episode. So we literally just have 1 player joining the club and 1 player temporarily leaving, Bazour joining for 10 million and Filipenu leaving on loan for the remainder of this season. We've got a couple of updates for debt plans. I figure we may as well go all in on trying to make Hernandez the next Ribéry, converting his position to left wing rather than the default right mid. That gave him a +1 to his rating, and we'll probably be keeping the balanced debt plan for now, but later on we can switch things around. I've already expressed interest in converting Bazour to a center midfielder, and as expected, it did give him a +1 to his rating, and we can use that box-to-box debt plan, keeping his work rates the same while still giving him a boost to his pace, shooting, passing, and dribbling statistics. We're also going to stick debt plans on some of these original Marseille players, Amavi as an attacking wide back, and Chaletakar as a defensive center back. The main upside to this is that he gets a nice boost to his pace and just makes him a more well-rounded defender. So with a few new additions and a new formation here at Marseille, this is going to be our current selection of starting 11 players. It's going to be a challenge for us to finish top 4 in France this season, but I think this squad can do it as long as we can get goals from some of our experienced players and our younger players can progress nicely. This is where we're going to transition to the gameplay aspect of the career mode, doing a little bit of post-com and trying to give some in-depth analysis about the gameplay. A lot of different competitions again to be talking about, starting with the Trophy des Champions and then switching over to Champions League and some Liga action. It's not often that you have an opportunity to win some silverware in your first match of a career mode save, but we can do so here in the Trophy des Champions. In case you were interested, these are the slider settings that I'll be using for the save, playing on ultimate difficulty with competitor mode off. I've been using these sliders for a few months now, and I feel like they're pretty balanced. Once your team does grow in their overall rating, things get a little bit more one-sided. But for the time being, in the current state of Marseille, I think they'll work out just fine. While it would be great to win this match, I'm also using it as a chance to test out the squad and get a better familiarity with the tactics. That way we can carry forward some good momentum into Champions League and Ligue 1. We do get off to a good start, our fullbacks getting involved right from the get-go and setting in an inviting cross. I felt like that was one of our best chances of scoring in this match. And on the opposite side, it is Mbappe to open up the scoring for PSG. Of course, one of the most talented players in France in all of FIFA 21. He's going to be one to watch out for in this save. It'll be interesting to see if PSG can remain a top side in this save and whether the CPU transfers will reflect in a positive light for them. But things just were not clicking for us. We had a few chances to maybe find the equalizer, but ultimately it was Mbappe who basically set up another chance. Sarabia with the follow-up. And all of a sudden, we now find ourselves 2-0 down. Perhaps we can turn things around, though, in the second half. Rongier setting up Talvan, who is called for offside, despite having his shot blocked. But this is where we're going to see the debut for our homegrown talent. Payet tends to drop in his stamina pretty quickly, so it's nice that we have a capable option there at the left wing position. A little bit of fortune for us for Milik to get one goal back in the 63rd. It certainly wasn't what I was trying to do in the build-up, but that's some good positional awareness by him and good composure to slot that by Keylor Navas. As we creep towards the later stages of this match, we'll get a few more chances. Absolute heartbreak here as Talvan hits the post. And now that we're past the 2 minutes of allotted extra time, Mbappe can basically see out the rest of this match. We try to get the ball forward, but the ref does call for full time, and unfortunately we will fall in our opening match of this series. With that said, I think we put up a valiant effort, made the fixture a lot more interesting than things looked in the first half. And while it will be Marquinhos and PSG to lift the trophy to start off this career mode, I think this is going to give us some room to build up on. At least right now, Marseille are not the top team in France, but give it a couple of seasons, I think we could make things really interesting and shake things up in Ligue 1 as well as some of the domestic cups and Champions League. As we get into the month of September, we have our first fixture in Champions League against Porto, a side that has surprised a lot of people to reach the quarterfinals of the competition IRL. But we're going to look to advance past them and hopefully finish in the top 2 of our group. Picking up a win in the gameplay fixture would do us a lot of good because the simulate fixture was also in our favor, winning that match 1-0. I think there was a lot of excitement going into this match because this is the first time that Marseille have qualified for Champions League in a few seasons. And with this being our first home gameplay fixture, we're looking to pick up a win. Just like they play IRL, Porto were a strong defensive side in this one. Not a lot of chances for either team to get goals. Really, it was the trickery from Tecotito to give Porto the few chances they had. We tried to make something from these set pieces, but that bicycle kick effort from Milik was well over the crossbar. Again, it's going to be Hernandez, though, making that late substitution for Payet and running through on goal. He just needs to have the composure here to try to get it by the keeper, but a good save on his near post. 83rd minute now, as it's Porto again trying to get that opening goal. Solid save for Mandanda to deny that effort. And we're going to look to get on a counterattack and hopefully make something out of nothing, as it's Talvan who's on his own, but he wins back the ball. It's going to be a finesse shot to the far post, and that will give us the 1-0 advantage. I really never get tired of seeing that cinematic celebration, especially the first time in a career mode. While I don't want to leave many matches too late, I'll give the squad a pass on this one, as it appears that will be opening up our Champions League campaign with 3 points. And that's a big credit to Tovan, whose contract is expiring at the end of the season. Again, I'm asking for your feedback, which players we should keep on board and renew their contract. We'll keep the trend of Champions League going with a fixture against Manchester City, by far the most difficult team in our group. That was reflected in the home fixture as we lost 2-0 to them. And it goes to show the strength of their side when Ousmane Dembele doesn't even make their starting 11. Still a big transfer for City. As things stand, City appear to be relying on some of their original players. You can see the likes of Mahrez, Aguero, and Sterling still in their starting 11 and looking to make an impact on this match. As City will have the opening highlight. It's Aguero linking up with Rodri, who spots out the run. A beautifully lofted through ball, and that will be the opener for them just 9 minutes in. One thing I'll say is that they've got their press tactics down to perfection. It is difficult to get the ball out of your own half, and as a result, it's going to create a lot of chances for Manchester City. A dangerous cross sent in by Sterling, but we do get in a good block here. I think that took both a deflection as well as a block from Mandanda to keep that from going in on the near post. Mahrez to Sterling. Now it's De Bruyne looking to turn the defender. Another solid save from Mandanda as we get into the second half. And this is where we will get one of our few chances on a corner kick. It's Talvan with a lot of space ahead of him and really not many of the City defenders tracking back, Again, it's going to be Talvan one-on-one with the keeper. This time he does try to go to the far post, and unfortunately, this effort's dragged wide. City are going to start making some substitutions here towards the last third of the match. And it's Edeyami, who they brought in from RB Salzburg. Obviously, a very high potential player, but it was amazing to see that he's actually featuring for City in a competition like Champions League. Of course, I don't like the goal being scored against us, but this is one of those cool transfers that you see from time to time in career mode, and hopefully we'll be able to keep track of his career as seasons progress. Milik playing to one of our substitute players, and unfortunately, these City defenders are just too quick, especially the likes of Kyle Walker. They were able to track back and stop any efforts from going in. We will concede a third, and again, it's Edeyami to net the goal. After a strong start in Champions League, this result brought us back down to earth, and we have a lot to play for as we get into the third and final gameplay fixture. With 5 matches played, we find ourselves second in the group. It looks like City will be finishing first regardless of this final result, but a lot on the line as we match up against Olympiacos. A win or a draw would be enough to see us advance to the knockout stages of this competition, but I don't think this is necessarily going to be an easy match. They've picked up some good results in the group stage, getting a draw against the likes of Manchester City, and their starting 11 has a lot of players who might be familiar with us. Some former French internationals and Ligue 1 players factoring into their side. Combine that with the fact that we only managed a draw in the simulated fixture, Olympiacos were no joke. With the number of fixtures we had leading up to this match, we also had to rotate our squad heavily, some fresh faces in the starting 11. We'll see if that has any impact on the final result of this match as we get off to a fantastic start. Rongier played through on goal, but some good defending from Olympiacos. It's double trouble, basically the same bit of buildup, except this effort goes just wide of the far post. As a result of not taking our chances, we will go down 1-0 in the 10th minute. Really no one to blame but ourselves. We had the opportunities to go out in front. Olympiacos were able to withstand the pressure and make the most of their first chance. We'll try to answer back just a few minutes later. Kamara showing that defensive ability, and now it's the third time that Rongier is played through. This time he will go on the near post and will equalize the match in the 15th minute. Exactly what we needed at this point in time, as we have everything to play for in the next 70 minutes or so. Things finally seem to settle down after an eventful first few minutes, but a defensive mistake from Chaleta Carr will lead to a chance for Olympiacos. We had Mandanda come off of his line, and he does well to have that one go out for just a throw-in. Moving forward to the second half, we had that option to play the pass across. We will eventually square it, and it's Rongier to get a brace in the 60th minute, and our first assist for Hernandez as well. This is exactly what I was hoping for with a rotated side, some new players stepping up as we try to close out this match. We're making some more substitutions. Unfortunately, we've got a former high potential player in Luis Enrique, but I think he's dropped from like an 88 potential to just a 79 at this point in time. Maybe we'll have dynamic potential attempt to take over. We get a little bit of fortune on our side with that initial effort hitting the post and the follow-up going off and offside. Olympiacos player, but that will be the final highlight of the match. 3 points for us on this match day, and that means we'll be finishing second in our Champions League group. A great outing from the entire squad. Looking at the final results, Olympiacos will still be advancing to Europa League, so maybe we'll keep tabs on them moving forward, but I'll be revealing our knockout stage opponent in the round of 16 in the next episode, so stay tuned for that as we get into the final gameplay highlights. It's Lyon who will be our final opponent in the month of December, and this is actually going to make for an entertaining fixture because we're right around the same place in the league. As far as the starting 11 is concerned, we'll be giving Hernandez the nod at the left wing position. Unfortunately, Payet has continued to drop in his overall rating. We'll recap that a little bit more at the end of the episode. But I just like his stats. He's a very well-rounded player, and he offers something different for us out on the wing. Lyon are definitely one of those teams to watch out for in France with the number of high potential players they have. Give them a couple of seasons, and they're typically one of the teams to advance to the later stages of Champions League. With that said, we had our chances to go out in front. Hernandez with a prime opportunity, but the effort not even close to being on target, so still a little bit of work for him to do. We'll push on though, and in the second half, it's Milik who plays through Rongier, coming off of a great performance in our final Champions League match. He nearly gets the opening goal, but a good save from Lopez as we're into the final minutes, and it's a fantastic effort from Awar, bringing that cross down in an acrobatic fashion and also firing that effort to the near post. No chance for Mandanda to make the save. There's plenty of spirit in this Marseille squad though, as in the 87th minute, it's our homegrown talent, Hernandez, who sets up Tolvan to give us the equalizer. A nice bit of skill to set up that assist in the first place, and it was a well-placed finish to give us 1 point out of this match. Overall, I'm happy with how the gameplay went in this episode. We achieved our goal of advancing to the knockout stages of Champions League. And as we get into the mid-season recap, we'll see how we're faring in France. Well, I've got to hand it to the squad. A good performance in Champions League as we progress to the knockout stages, and a respectable outing in France as well. A lot of teams challenging for top 4, but as things currently stand, we sit 3rd. If we can see out this place by the end of the season, I would be completely content. And then switching over to some of the top goal scorers and assist makers, I think we have to consider bringing in Milik on a permanent basis. He's the only player for us to get in the double digit for goals, Tolvan with 9 goals and Payet with 4. I'll admit I was a bit surprised by some of the assist numbers. I think Payet has been a bit of an assist merchant in the simulations because he hasn't really shown up in the gameplay, but he is still top for the club with 6 assists from 20 appearances. Ronier with 5 assists from 24, and our homegrown talent Hernandez with 4 assists from 15. This is where your input is going to be crucial. We need to decide which one of these goalkeeper youth academy players we should be promoting and probably sending out on loan for the rest of this season. Realistically, come season 3, Mandanda will start to drop in his rating, and by then we should have a promising youth academy player approaching the same overall. But I'm also going to need some feedback as far as where you think we should focus on for future transfers. Now that we are into the later stages of Champions League, I think we can persuade some other players to join the club. We do need that added squad depth because unfortunately 3 of the players that we've currently got on loan, Valerdi, as well as Cousin and Lirola, have all been recalled by their parent club. I try to factor them into the teams every now and then, but apparently the number of appearances was not enough, so maybe adding some additional defenders and midfielders could help us out. Some big decisions for you all to make, and I look forward to reviewing the comments on this video. But I want to give a big thank you to channel members for helping support what we do on YouTube. It is very much appreciated. If you are interested in learning more about the YouTube membership program, you can click the join button right below the video. I also have a link in the description talking more about it. But if you did enjoy this opening episode of the Marseille career mode, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.